Hi friends, Simon here from InformedTrades.com. In this video is a review of InstaForex.com, a Russian-based forex broker. Let's get started. Okay, the key points. Well, one, InstaForex is pretty suited for gamblers. That is my honest perception. We'll get more into that later. They do have a couple innovative features. Copy Trader, Insta Wallet. We'll touch on what those are and how they're enabled to do this while other brokers aren't. Deposit risk. This is the big one. It's in red. We'll talk a little bit about that shortly. The company is based in Russia. MT4 Only platform. So it's an MT4 Only broker. And then we'll touch upon their customer service and education as we do in these broker videos. Okay. Okay, Goin For Gamblers. They offer 1,000-to-1 leverage. Their website has lots of the color red. They're always doing these sporting events, and they often have innuendos, or they're marketing a lot of sex. Where they'll have a woman who they think people will find attractive, and they'll have her presented everywhere. So they're clearly targeting the heterosexual male demographic. And that's largely associated with gamblers. So I think they're pretty unabashed in in their approach. It is what it is. That's not necessarily a criticism, just something to observe. And it tells you about their brand. And sometimes some traders may enjoy a lot of these features. They may find it fun. Opens up a high leverage, which can be. I even like to use a lot of leverage if my balance is going to be very small. So it's something to consider. It has its pros and cons, but more importantly, it depends upon what you're looking for. Innovative features, Insta Wallet and Insta Copy. On the screen now, you're seeing a screenshot of Insta Copy, which is basically their copy trading service, and that's entirely within their own network of traders. So this is not someone's trading with broker ABC and you can copy them even though your account's with InstaForex. It's not quite that, like some other trade copying services have. This is just copying traders on InstaForex. And related to this is Insta Wallet, which is a payment mechanism. So let's say you have one of your friends has an account on InstaForex. You can send money from your account to them using Insta Wallet. And Insta Copy, you can copy their trades. And if you're a trader, anyone's pretty unrestricted. Anyone can set up. You can determine how you want to price your trades, add a commission, take a percentage of the profits, and it shows the person's track record. It shows their top traders. Overall, these features I think are pretty good. And you can get started with a really small balance. You can basically start with a balance of $1, $10. You can launch your own fund, your own trade signal service with almost no money. So those I think are pretty innovative relative to what else is out there in the market. Nobody has something like InstaWallet, and we'll get into why that is in a moment. And InstaCopy usually has a higher balance, and I actually thought that these features, which I did try out, were pretty good. I was impressed with how it worked. The fact that InstaForex is controlling every element, the trading account, the depositing, the copying features, I think it led to a pretty smooth experience. Interface could still get a bunch of work, but better than a lot of other solutions I've seen out there. Deposit risk. Okay, so here you can see my email on the left side that was sent to InstaForex. They're saying I've had numerous instances trying to get money out. I still haven't gotten money out. It's only a small amount of money. It's 185 US dollars. So I only put a small amount in there to test them out. I wasn't able to get it out though when I tried to withdraw. So, and now maybe that's because of just confusion. They are based in Russia, so all the customer support is in Russian, or they're native Russian speakers. They do speak some English, but you can definitely tell they're not native, and they're going to make some grammatical errors. So maybe there was a language barrier, and they just didn't understand it. I don't speak Russian, of course. So that's pretty discouraging. And you can see the timestamp here. This was over 2 years ago. Still haven't gotten my money back. I've sort of given up on it at this point. That I think is a big red flag and doesn't really leave a positive experience. Obviously, it negates any other redeeming qualities they have for me. But it is something to consider. So I'm not saying this would happen to everyone who did that, but it did happen to me. So, fair warning there. Based in Russia, and this is why I think this is one of the things that intrigued me a little bit about it. One, they're based in Russia. They're not supposed to be accepting U.S. clients. I am in the U.S. They did accept me, so they're not really. This broker is not really playing by the rules. They will. They do put up some phony or pretty easy to work around things to discourage U.S. investors. But they will sort of accept it. They run a pretty anarchist type of philosophy, I guess. They just want everyone. They want, you know, a lot of. They're friendly towards chaos and recklessness, which I sort of like too. I think that enables them to innovate, and I like the innovation it enables. But that's something that's also worth noting. And because of the geopolitical conflicts in the world today, you know, we're seeing a lot of issues with countries sanctioning Russia, Russia sanctioning them back, payments not going back and forth. This is kind of a foot in a different banking world, especially coming from a Western country. So you'll notice even getting money to InstaForex was a big hassle. You know, I had to go through Liberty Reserve, which is this weird virtual currency type thing. They don't use PayPal. They use Skrill and Moneybookers and other services like that. No Western credit cards. So that was an interesting experience. Definitely something to consider. And another way where, let's say they were completely honest, but it's another way you could have trouble if you're coming from the West in getting your money out. Well, on the flip side, if you want some diversification, you want some of your money in this in the Russian sphere of money, the Russian, China, the BRICS sort of money pool, money network. An account with InstaForex might be a way of getting, you know, a toe in that world. So something to consider in that regard. Oh, and also because they're based in Russia, that's where their customer support's coming from. So, you know, they were responsive, but it took about 24 hours, maybe a little bit more. And the English that they replied to was not the best. It was a little broken. So that's another thing, is that if you're, in terms of, you know, coming from the West, you know, I do value customer service a lot, and their customer service is not going to be. I found it a little uncomfortable as a native English speaker who doesn't speak Russian. I was a little concerned whether they're going to understand me, whether there's a gap of some type, time-wise, language-wise, culture-wise, all those things. That's, of course, not a criticism, but it's just they're catering more, or they're having difficulty reaching an audience like myself, native English speakers. So that's something to consider there. Platforms, MT4 only. This is another big minus. I really dislike the MT4 platform. It's the only platform they offer. A lot of brokers, you know, these days starting a Forex broker, if you just want the MT4 platform, there's a ton of those brokers out there, hundreds, where they just offer, you know, the MT4 platform. It's pretty generic. They're not really differentiating themselves. InstaForex isn't differentiating themselves in other ways that other brokers aren't. But MT4 is not something that I really like. That's another thing that I view as a minus. If you like MT4, if you're using the expert advisors, that's fine. If you're not using expert advisors, I don't see how anyone could think MT4 was good. And related to this, I didn't mention this earlier, but the spreads on InstaForex are pretty wide. So that's a huge deal. I should have mentioned that earlier, but definitely a big point. Wide spreads on InstaForex. So if you're a day trader, that's going to be a bit of an issue potentially. Customer service and education, pretty weak. I already talked about the customer service, difficulty reaching English-speaking audience. Education is like non-existent. I don't think that's a huge issue, because I think traders will benefit from getting their education from other services, other places like Informed Trades. Obviously, I'm biased, and I think that institutions or companies or organizations, whatever you want to call it, that are dedicated towards education can do a better job and be less biased than a lot of the broker-run services. But they're not even really trying for education. Like I mentioned, they're really unabashed in how they're catering towards gamblers. You know, accepting accounts from the U.S. when they're not supposed to. So this is pretty. You know, they don't care if their audience is that educated. They probably don't want their audience to be that educated. It's clearly a B-book broker. So that's sort of where they're coming from. That's about it. I guess overall, I don't think InstaForex is that good. They are fun, and they do have some they do have some innovative offerings. You know, if you want a really small balance, if you want to go, like one thing that I thought was kind of interesting with them is setting up an account to trade silver, you know, or oil or something, using a really high leverage, like 800 to 1 or something absurd like that, with a small balance. So that's sort of like playing the lottery ticket. If you're willing to lose 20 bucks on that, go for it. I wouldn't really recommend them for too much other than that. Maybe, on the related note, maybe I'd put a little bit in and copy some other trader who has a really high-risk strategy that I thought was interesting. Of course, personally, I wouldn't put any money again because I'm still not able to get the couple $100s I did put in there out. So that's a huge red flag, and that's sort of the deal breaker for me. But that might not happen to everyone. If you're definitely in a country that's easier to work with Russian-based companies, that might be interesting. Or if you're a Russian speaker. If I was in Russia, this could be, I'd probably put a little bit of money in there, $100 or something, to see what happens. That's about it. Any questions you have, anything you want to add, your experience with InstaForex, join us at informedtrades.com. Best of luck in your trading. We'll see you next time.